Welcome! I'm excited to teach you risotto today. When you know how to make this, you'll be seen as a serious cook. People are impressed because it's seen as fancy and a bit mysterious. Many of us only eat risotto in restaurants, but this can add magic to your special meal. The secret is infusing the broth with herb and onion flavors before we add it to Arborio rice. Now I've streamlined this recipe to make it manageable. Risotto is a rice with a few differences. The grains of Arborio rice are larger and have more starch. To be effective, we'll use hot broth and give it plenty of time to be absorbed. This is an excellent recipe for when you're cooking for someone special. Time their arrival for when you begin adding the broth. Your kitchen will be aromatic and all you'll have to do is stir. You'll look hard at work and you'll still be able to visit with that person. Jen calls this my smooth operator technique. Alright, the first step is to prepare the infused stock. For this, we'll need to prepare the vegetables. Now they don't need to be pretty because we're just going to boil the flavor out of them. First we need 1 carrot. We're going to cut this into a few pieces just to expose a little more surface area. We're going to add that to the pot. Now we need to add the celery stalk. Throw the leaves in as well. Okay, we're going to quarter 1 onion, peel it a little bit. I find it easier to peel once you've cut it in half. Again, quartering onion. We've got 5 or 6 sprigs of thyme. They're going right into the pot whole. Now for the parsley, what we want to do is pull the leaves off and reserve them for later. We're going to boil the stalks, the stems of them, but keep the leaves for later. So we've got a nice bundle of parsley stalks into the pot as well. Now we're going to add 4 cups of broth, chicken broth. And we need 3 cups of water. And that cuts down on the kind of the tintiness, brininess of stock, because this will get reduced with the rice. So now it's time to head to the stove. We're moving to the stove and placing this on medium-high heat. We've come to a boil. I'm going to turn the heat down to about medium-low or low, depending on your stove. And we're going to cover this for about 20 minutes. It has been 20 minutes. The broth has been simmering away. It's time to drain and separate the vegetables from the stock. Alright, then we're just going to add the stock back into the pan. And place it back on the stove because we want to keep this warm during the process. Alright, melted 3 tablespoons of butter into a Dutch oven. It's just starting to bubble. Adding a small diced onion, about a half a teaspoon of fresh thyme that's minced up, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. Turn this around. I'm on medium-high heat. We're going to cook the onion for 5 or 6 minutes till it's softened. We do not want the onion to brown. There's the timer. It's been 5 minutes. It's time to add 1 clove of garlic. I'm using a garlic press. You can also mince it by hand, or I sanction the use of jar garlic, especially during the weekdays. We're going to cook the garlic for just 30 seconds. Should start smelling it in a moment. Then we're going to add 2 cups of Arborio rice. Cook this with the onions for about 3 minutes. We want to see the rice become a little bit translucent. And again, this starts the process of breaking down the heavy starch of the rice. Okay, it's been 3 minutes. We're going to add 1 cup of white wine. I like to use a nice dry Chardonnay the white burgundy. We're going to cook the rice with the wine for about 3 minutes. You just want to see it pretty much get absorbed by the rice and cook away. And it's now time to start adding the broth. One of the tricks I learned is that you know, there's a kind of a myth about risotto where you have to spoon broth and stir constantly. And what I learned is that you can really put about half the broth in right here at the beginning. So I'm going to do about 4 ladles worth. I don't think the ladle is quite a cup, but I want to shoot for 3 or 4 cups of broth into this. So we're going to let that cook for 10 to 12 minutes, and we're going to cover it. Turn the temperature down to medium low. It's been about 12 minutes. I have stirred 2 or 3 times during that time with the cover on. Now I'm going to remove the cover. You can see the transformation. The rice is much larger. Most of that moisture, the 4 cups we added earlier of the broth, has been absorbed. I've been keeping the remaining broth warm on the stove next to it. And I'm going to turn the heat up to about medium. And this is a process where this is the famous risotto process where you start adding a ladle or 2 at a time, stirring pretty frequently. So this is the part you really want to do when your guests arrive. We're going to repeat this process about 3 times. A little over 4 minutes, that cup of broth is absorbed into the rice nicely. I'm going to add another cup. Stir that in and repeat. Alright, it's been 3 times that we've added broth with the ladle, stirring it in for 3 or 4 minutes, and you can see that it's absorbed quite well. It's leaving a bit of a trail at the bottom of the pan, which is what you want to look for here at this step. So now is the time to add 1 cup of Parmesan, grated Parmesan. I grated this fresh today, but you can use the bag stuff if you wish. Some of you may have noticed that we didn't add much salt early in the recipe, and that's because we're getting quite a bit of salt from the Parmesan now. This is also the time when you can hold the recipe, you know, for when somebody's coming over or whatever, for like a half an hour, an hour. Just put the lid on. You can put it in like a 200-degree oven, and then right before you serve it, you do the next step. We are adding 1 final tablespoon of butter. Stir that in, add a little bit more creaminess to go with the cheese. Now's the time to turn off the heat. Adding about 3 tablespoons of parsley. It just adds that beautiful green color here, and again, you want to do this right before you serve it. It'll stay nice and fresh looking. And then I always find it's really nice to add juice of about a half of lemon. At this point, it is time to plate up and see what the food taster thinks about it. All right, welcome food taster and tester Jen.
Hello everybody.
Today we have the herb risotto mix with Parmesan.
Okay, sounds good.
And right up your alley.
This is one of my favorites. Blair's been making this for dinner parties for quite a while now, and it's a huge hit with our guests. It's something you don't expect at home, and so it's something you expect at a restaurant. So it really is a nice treat for folks. I can tell there's a vegetable stock in here. There's vegetables.
Oh yeah, we infused the stock with carrot, celery, onion.
Oh, and I can tell some
stuff.
Herbs and some lemon as well.
Yeah, both in the broth and in the mix as well.
It's very good. I definitely give this an A.
An A? An A?
He doesn't get an A very often.
No, I don't. That's the first one this week, folks.
Yeah, it's so much more than just plain old rice and potatoes. You can tell there's effort in here. And again, it's just not something you you expect at home. So
Great.
very
Well,
good.
thank you very much, Jen. This is a great risotto to do with like scallops or fish because it won't overpower that main dish. So really hope you'll try this at home. It'll be great. I'd love to hear from viewers. Please leave a comment on YouTube or my website. You can get this complete recipe at theguydecooks.com. There are many other recipes there as well. There's no advertising, pop-ups, or other annoying distractions. Thank you for watching. I wish you good health, great cooking, and a memorable meal. Thanks everybody.